The first thing I want to do, if you don't mind, Mr. O'Neill.
Sir.
Can I call you Ryan?
Please.
All right. First thing I want to do is pretend like you and I are best buddies and have my photo with you. Is that all right? Oh, man! Oh, that made my conference! I swear, thank you.
I've also kissed Dr. Bahn, so don't feel that privileged.
I know, but
like it.
But Bahn carries a biopsy gun and I don't. That was awesome. I got to tell my wife about that. So I'm going to do something. You know, I was doing some research and I thought this would be kind of neat. And then I want you to watch this clip. And then I want to ask you a couple of questions about it, if you don't mind. So can we bring this clip up before we start talking medically? Let's see if we can bring this clip up, this video clip. Is it loading? Are we doing okay?
I just hope I'm not in it.
Let me know if you can get it. If not...
Moles, let's give him some money.
No.
Just a little bit. We got $305.16.
Whole nother business giving it away. It's bad enough you give away Bibles.
But they're poorly.
The whole country's poorly, I told you before.
But Frankie Roosevelt said we gotta look out for him.
I don't care about Frankie Roosevelt.
But he says it.
That's so? Why don't you ask Frankie Roosevelt what he thinks about taking care of himself? You think he don't eat off silver trays? He can eat off tabletops like the rest of us, but he don't. You know why? Because that would make him look common. And besides, Frankie Roosevelt ain't running this thing. I'm running it, so don't you make up no rules about what we're going to give away.
It's my money, too, you know. $200 belongs to me, and don't you forget that.
You want it? Well, just put my share in my pocket, and I'll take you to a train station. How do you like that? Get the map. Find out where the nearest depot is. Nothing but trouble anyway. First you charge too much, then you want to give it away.
Where are we now?
We just left Plainville. $12 for a Bible, then it's up to $24. If I stay with you, I'll spend the rest of my life in jail.
There's a depot in Lincoln. You can take me to Lincoln.
You bet I will. Where's Lincoln?
Clear over there.
Oh, boy, you think I'm going to take you clear over there just to get you to some depot?
Then keep going east. We'll hit one in Sylvan Grove.
Where's Sylvan Grove?
Right here.
Well, that'll take us down through Lucas.
You gotta go through something that gets us Sylvan Grove.
I am not complaining. I'm just saying it'll take you through Lucas.
You gotta go through Paradise and Waldo and Murray and
Murray,
Lucas.
huh?
You wanna get to Sylvan
Well,
Grove.
those are pretty good towns in there. We could do some business in there.
Well, it won't matter much when you're out of Bibles anyway.
What do you mean we're out of Bibles? Why didn't you tell me we're out of Bibles?
You mentioned the box too, don't you?
Well, you know, you've got an excuse for everything.
Because you blame me for
If we were running out of Bibles, you should have told me we were running out of Bibles.
Well, we're running out of
Well,
Bibles.
then we got to get new ones.
And let's get new ones.
We can fix them up in Great Bend.
Great Bend's the other way.
Well, we got to have Bibles, don't we? Let's see, now we can veer down to Lucas, and we'll veer over to Wilson, veer off to Lorraine and Bushton.
And we could veer out to Hoisington.
Just have to keep on veering, that's all. I'm getting hungry. You getting hungry?
24 takes.
Wow.
24 times we had to do this. See. 24 times.
I love that scene, and I love it because the exchange is so fast and it's so lucid. And that was going to be my question.
In one moment, and during these 24 takes, she looked at me and she said, "What's wrong?" That's not her line. What's wrong? And I said, "Nothing." She said, "But you had that look on your face." I said, "I'm acting. This is acting." And they say, "Okay, turn them around. We're going to do it again. Turn them around, turn them around."
Did you know on take 24 that was the one, or did they just tell you that?
If I remember correctly, and this is many years ago, I don't think we got it that day. I think we came back and did it another day. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
So now let me show you some photos. Again, I want to go through a couple of things.
Yeah. I know him.
Do you know this person?
Yeah, I do.
How old are you there?
I don't know. 14?
You look great. Next photo, please. What's that from?
The hair?
No.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you. Maybe Peyton Place, something like that.
Okay.
Back in the day.
And then the next photo?
Ouch. That's what I remember about that, yeah.
So that was...
I was in a movie with Barbara Streisand where I played a boxer. She was my manager.
Ah. Main event.
Yeah.
And how was Barbara to work with?
Wonderful.
Seriously, how was she?
Absolutely wonderful.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Is she here?
So, but this kind of has meaning. This has more meaning than just movies. You were a boxer, right?
Not a good one.
But weren't you going to try to be? Were you going to try to be a professional boxer when you lived out here?
No.
No.
No. I just wanted a jacket that said the LA Times Golden Gloves. That's all I wanted. And I had to get my nose broken twice to get one.
Really? Next slide.
Yeah.
That's a great photo.
Yeah. That's the woman of my life. That's my son's mother, who's here, by the way. Redmond is here.
Oh, it's fabulous.
And
Well, welcome.
We miss her desperately.
Next slide. I like that photo too.
Yeah.
I was kind of combing through the different photos of the two of you together.
Yeah.
And the next one, can you tell us about, were you just inspired, is this right after her death? You were inspired to write a book and talk about your life with her, and was that sort of cathartic or therapeutic?
You know, there were many people that were interested, and there were questions that were never answered, and I tried to do that. It wasn't about my career. The book starts when I first met her and carries on for the next 25 years. It's nothing to do with filmology or anything. It was just our lives together.
And how did you first meet?
Her husband introduced us.
I didn't know that. Sorry, I didn't know that. I would have otherwise... I'm not the fastest.
Is Lee Majors here?
Really, that's true? Lee Majors introduced the two of you?
Yes.
Interesting. That's really interesting. Let me show you the next slide. I don't know a single high school or college student when I was going through school that did not have this poster. I bought this poster. Do we know the history of this poster? Was this an idea that came from someone, or this sold up? I don't know how many copies. Do we know how many copies this ended up selling? Like most
12 million.
12 million.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm just one of 12 million then. I don't. And then the last one. Tell me about this photo before we start talking.
Well, that's my dog Mozart and me at our home in Malibu.
Favorite movie you were in?
He's cancer-free, by the way.
He's cancer-free. A couple other side things I just think about. Your favorite movie was which one that you were in?
It was a movie called Love Story. I made that in 1969 with Ali McGraw. And it was just a wonder to do.
Do you ever
I
go
lost
back?
her in that too, by the way. She dies in the end. She had some kind of cancer. In those days, they didn't explain what they were. You just had 3 weeks to live.
Do you ever watch those? Do you ever watch that movie again? Do you ever?
No, I haven't seen it in years. I asked my son if he had seen it, and he said yes, but I don't believe him. He said it in such a way, I don't think he's seen it. So I thought, well, maybe he should someday.
Do you ever go back and watch any of your films anymore? And because?
Oh, because, you know, there are so many other interesting things to see.
Best thing about Hollywood is what? If someone was to ask you, best thing about being a movie star in Hollywood?
Well, being an actor is a terrific profession. If you can get work, it is a wonderful life. You meet terrific girls. How can I lie? And dogs, and dogs.
And what's the one thing you don't like about Hollywood that you could have never predicted until you actually started doing what you were doing?
Failure on a big scale. That's tough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I've got to talk about prostate cancer a little bit. But I appreciate.
But that's not failure.
Yeah.
Not for me.
But I'm curious about that. Not to play therapist. When you say failure in Hollywood, does that mean not getting the roles or getting a role that doesn't work out? I mean, what specifically do you mean by that?
Something you work your heart out for, and people don't appreciate it and don't go to see it. It dies a quick death. What could be worse?
Well,
Cancer.
yeah.
I've got that too. I have leukemia, actually, CML,
CML.
and lots of skin cancers. And I had prostate cancer 2 years ago, apparently potentially severe. And I went to this man in Ventura County, and he examined me and he said, I think that you're a candidate for vocal cryopathy. And that we waited 3 days and then we did it. He did it. I was told about it. And I went home and was checked periodically, and after just about a year, I went back to him and he gave me another thorough examination. He couldn't find the cancer.
I like that. But take me to how you were actually diagnosed. Were you going for regular checkups? Did someone recommend that you go in?
Well,
how did that
this
come
is
about?
sort of awkward. I had met a woman who wanted to have a baby.
This is going to be good. I didn't think anything could beat the Lee Majors thing, but this thing's going to be good.
I had no connection.
Oh.
And, but so I went to a urologist, and he examined me, and he felt something that was odd to him. And he did a biopsy, and he said, you have a prostate cancer. So I went to Farah's oncologist, who was my friend, Lawrence Pirro, Dr. Lawrence Pirro in Santa Monica. And he suggested that I see Dr. Duke Hahn. He said he does something unique and less invasive than some of the ways you can treat this kind of cancer. And why don't you meet with him? And I fled up there as soon as possible, and that's where we were.
So you didn't consider, right after the meeting, you didn't consider radiation or surgery. This was, upon the first meeting, you were pretty convinced?
I went with his diagnosis, whatever he thought I should do. He just had wisdom and history and knowledge, and on his floor of his office, he had all of these files of men that were alive, that he just kept a watch on. He just observed, just kept checking to see how they were doing, and would not send them off to some surgeon that could ruin them forever. Ruin them for you women.
Were you concerned when you first saw Dr. Bahn that despite being a middle-aged man, he looked like he was late for high school?
A little problem with his accent at first. But I learned Korean. He asked me to. So we got around that.
So how long ago was the treatment now?
16 months.
And tell us how those 16 months have been going. Have you had...
Absolutely without mishap. He knows what I mean. This guy knows what I mean.
No problem.
Because, things, just the most embarrassing kinds of things can occur from that little prostate gland in your body. And they haven't yet in me. They haven't. I've been patched up.
Dr. Bahn, do you want to tell us a little bit about his situation? A little bit more about his situation? I thought...
Yes, I would. May I have the first slide?
Slide? Oh, my God.
I still want to hear the story about the pregnancy thing. I got to put that reality TV show together.
The baby's in the car. No.
Okay, so Mr. O'Neill came in with a known diagnosis of prostate cancer. It was Gleason grade 7 equals 4 plus 3. So as you know that it is not a low-risk disease already. We like to see Gleason 7 equals 3 plus 4 or 6 or under. That cancer was seen in the right mid-gland extending towards the base, and PSA was 16.6. And then at the time, so we did ultrasound. As you see that the picture labeled as A show that the arrow shows prostate cancer at the middle level of the gland as a dark spot.
I said to him, what are the orange, the red, what does that mean? He said, that's blood. The cancer needs lots of blood.
So that area gets lots of blood flow, the one that on the left side of the picture. And so what we have done is that the so-called focal cryoablation, because of there's a clear evidence that he does not have cancer in the left side half of the prostate. As you know that the picture B shows an arrow, that is the leading edge of the eyes. We don't see the other boundary of eyes because ultrasound beam cannot penetrate through the eyes. So we see only leading edge front. And then the other one is a side view. So we saw that the highly vascular cancer, and we know that it's Gleason grade 7, and his PSA over 10, so it is at least intermediate risk disease, and it is necessary to have a proper treatment. But fortunately, his cancer was in only one lobe, so he could choose to have a focal cryo, freezing the right side half only as a minimally invasive treatment. And 14 months after he came back, as you see the picture in C, take a look at the arrow area. The known cancer is completely gone, and the right side of the half of the prostate is shrunken, deformed, and disorganized. And there is no blood flow, none whatsoever going to that area. That means that it is excellent post-cryoablation picture. And then his PSA level is now down to 0.7 and steady. And then after of course, it's an outpatient procedure, but we just kept him overnight stay, just in case, because of his famous celebrity. That's the only reason. Otherwise, I would kick him out right there. Did you know that? Okay, so, yeah. And then, you know that we usually keep the patient on Foley catheter through 3 to 5 days. Still with the Foley, you can go out for dinner, movie, anything like that. And then we usually let them just take them out by themselves. And that's about it. Next slide, please. Well, my paper shows that the no one developed urinary incontinence. So everybody end up with joining PGA, not PGA. Okay, so none of those guys are my patient, so don't get me wrong.
Are you a golfer, okay, Mr. O'Neill?
I'm a caddy for him now.
Dr. Bahn, that's a high PSA. Were you nervous about just giving him focal therapy? I assume that you didn't use hormones of any type. Did you? None?
None. Because of the number one, yes, it is a higher PSA than I like to see all the time. But he has enough tumor volume to qualify that. And also, yes, we might leave a very small volume microscopic cancer in the other lobe. We just simply didn't maybe pick that up. But you know that most of those kind of cancers are clinically not significant cancer, and it's not a threat to the life. Based on the pathologic literature, if we can get rid of we call it index tumor, main tumor only, then you can reduce the tumor burden by 90%. And also the chances of developing metastasis and cause death will be down to 90% as well. So in my opinion, at age of 70, that is more than enough. And more importantly, my goal is that they let Mr. O'Neill maintain his quality of life so he could continue his role in the society.
Making babies.
How's that going? Is that going anywhere?
No.
No?
No.
Well, and
I
then
flatlined.
and what's his follow-up? How often does he have to come see you now since this procedure's over?
First of all, he should have a PSA once every 3 months
Okay.
for first 2 years. And I usually like to see him in 1 year and 2 years. And then after that, everything is stable. He needs PSA once every 6 months. And they have a yearly follow-up. And then if we see 2 or 3 consecutive PSA risings, we may take a biopsy. Otherwise, we'll take a biopsy in 5 years as a confirmation. And then that follow-up will be finished at the age of 80.
Wow.
When's that?
So I'll finish up here because I know it's running late. But you dealt with leukemia. Then now you deal with this prostate cancer when you had a high PSA, and then you've been surrounded by some pretty devastating cancer stories. What's some advice that you would pass on to others? Any type of advice, because you've been through 2 experiences now. Any sort of words of wisdom that you would pass on to anybody in the audience or when people come up and ask you about what you have been through?
Cancer's tricky. There are no quick fixes or answers. My only suggestion would be to have a doctor that you trust, and he keeps on top of your physical needs. And if there are changes, if there's something, lumps or something's going wrong, at least he's got a record of it, and you're still in an early stage of something, and you can get help. Don't leave it. Don't leave it.
And what's the future look like for you? The next 5, 10 years, goals? You still going to try to make movies, or what's the plan for you going forward? Because it sounds like this is very well contained. You're in good hands. And so, what's next?
I'm working as a waiter here at the hotel.
Apart from that.
The sky's the limit.
So the possibility of more films.
Oh,
is
yeah.
That you want to stay in the movie industry on a regular basis?
Of course, if they'll have me.
What about hobbies? Do you have any
Hobbies?
Yeah, hobbies. Anything that you do?
No, not really. I exercise like mad because I can't think of anything else to do. Frankly, I have a bunch of kids and grandkids and even a great grandchild, and there's plenty of things to do.
To keep you busy.
Yeah.
Remarried?
No.
Anytime soon?
I've been married.
I know you've been married, but
They're not here, are they? But no. I still miss Farah. I still miss her. I'm a widower.
And how long were you two together? Total time?
We were together for nearly 25 years.
So before I let you go, I mean, you just have to explain this to me because I'm from the outside looking in.
Sure.
I've seen you on a million different shows, and when you talk about it, you really tear up. I mean, you still get very emotional about it even after all these years. And I'm trying to understand what was it there? I mean, I know you can't say it in 30 seconds necessarily, but what is it about still makes you emotional about that relationship?
Because she died so horribly. I had all the cancers, and she died of cancer. Horribly, painfully. She suffered.
And was part of that to make you aggressive on your situation? Is that why you're being aggressive, for example, with your prostate, or?
Listen, we have our son. I have our son. I can't leave. He can't lose both of us. It wouldn't be right. And so I do whatever I can to stay above the fray, so to speak, and share life with him and share what it was like with his mother, as if she were still with us.
Well, I mean, I appreciate your honesty. I'm sorry I pulled a Barbara Walters on you.
No,
I mean,
you're actually pretty smooth.
Hey, did you hear that? Is my wife here?
And she's retired, I understand. So.
Well, I'm going to leave you with this because I know you're going to be with the group. There's a couple observations, if you don't mind, unless I've missed something that you want to add.
Sure.
If there's anything else you want to add, let me know. But otherwise, let me leave you with this when we break up here, because we still have a video to look at to finish the conference. I know you weren't feeling that well.
I have the flu.
Okay. And then we were convinced up until the last minute that you wouldn't show up because you had the flu. And then you ended up showing up. So first of all, I really appreciate that, because a lot of people are here to hear your story.
Doctor, I gave my word that I would be here.
I think it's incredible. And the second compliment I will give you is that people don't realize I've been doing this 30 years. I worked with almost every single celebrity in prostate cancer, probably 30 plus. And I will tell you, it is a rare situation. In fact, I can't name a single time that someone said, I don't give a damn if you pay me or not. I just want to show up for free, tell my story, and be a part of a conference with other prostate cancer survivors. So I appreciate that. Thank you. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate both of you, and thanks for coming. And then he will try to be around maybe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out. I really appreciate it. Thanks for making that. Thank you.